Team, welcome to the day one for the mobile application testing tutorials. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching the videos. If you're watching one, welcome once again to ITeLearn. So a quick look at what we will do today as per our agenda is out here, and then we'll get started. So team, number one, this is the day one of the actual training on mobile application testing. All right. So what you're going to see today is the starting of the first project. That is what I will be ending the whole agenda with. Okay. But before that, I wanted to walk you through a few important details about what this training will cover overall. All right. We will look at what to expect at the end of this training that each of the participants will gain or learn towards the end, who this training has been specifically designed for, any specific prerequisites, the topics that will be covered as part of this entire course, and how it's going to be presented. Okay. After which we will get into the first session of our first project. The reason I say first project is you will see that as we go along, we will do about 2 or 3 projects as part of this training batch, and every topic that you learn is part of the projects. It's going to be a real-time project-like learning. So my theory level is very limited. So we'll come to some of that later. So the first thing is, what is it that you're going to expect at the end of it? All right. So the first few slides, team, is all text. So a little boring, but please be a little patient because very critical for you to understand before we move forward. Okay. So the first thing is you will get a lot of hands-on exposure to how you do mobile application testing in real life, in project. You will get job ready. So when you go for an interview or when you present yourself, or once you join a project, you have that comfort level to be able to take it forward in the right direction. All right. You will also become an advisor, since mobile application testing is so still new thing in the market, that you can go and recommend what kind of approach can be followed, what are the different best practices that can be deployed, and how you could create a test plan for what? Again, mobile application testing. And I'm calling this in short as MAT so that it is easy for you to read and for me to pronounce as well. All right. You will learn in a very, very detailed manner how to design, set up, execute, and maintain a mobile application testing lab. And this is a very, very critical thing, team, because this point says it all. Okay. It basically tells you that you have that hands-on experience of doing this specific thing. All right. You will eventually go in the direction of becoming an architect in this. That is the vision that I have, that you should be able to get to towards the end of the training. All right. Any questions that you have, meanwhile, please go ahead and start putting in the chat. Live audience, the participants who are watching the video, so you can always use the forum to do so. Now, the next slide is who it is for. So basically, who could attend this training? What kind of background could you come from? You could be someone who's already in testing. You could be a QA engineer, a lead, a QA manager. You could also be someone who's working in automation or performance testing or security testing or web test engineers. You could be absolutely beginner or right out of college and looking to enhance your skill and add mobile application testing as part of the skill. The reason you could still take a lot of advantage with this course is, number one, and I think I've tried to present it there in that slide. Give it a quick second, and then this slide is going to come back to us. Okay, there you go. All right, so next slide here, right? So the reason I'm saying this is, number one, it's a current plus next generation. Mobile application testing is hot right now in the market. Every application, every company is having some kind of a presence on mobile, they have customer base, they have users who are trying to use their services, applications, and so on the mobile devices. That means that there is plenty of testing that is required. Okay, there is limited skills in the market, so it is a hot skill. You have a great chance to get a good job through this. Okay, it is easy to learn. It is not rocket science. It's a very simple, easy, extremely interesting. It's going to be real pleasure to just sit through and learn how to do it and so on. Just because it's so new, it's so different from what we've been used to doing as web testing and so on. Okay, so irrespective of where you are, if you're planning to move from other IT departments, other IT like let's say development or BI or databases into this, or in testing already, or absolute beginner, this is absolutely fine. So you really don't have to worry about that. However, all you need to know is these few prerequisites. Okay, one is this is going to take about 4 to 6 weeks overall. You will be spending about 2 to 3 hours on an average each day. We're looking at about 50 to 100 hours of total effort that is required from your end. Okay, so you will have to spend enough time watching my sessions, going through it, and trying to practice parallelly along with it. And I'm sure with a little bit of practice, what assignments I'm going to show you and so on, you will really master this. Basic computer skills, MS Office, and so on. Some kind of an exposure to software applications and testing at a high level is fine. If you have not been working in software testing, that is not a problem, because it is not rocket science. It's a very simple process. You will get used to it as you go along. Okay, you should be someone who's using mobile devices like smartphones. You know how you can work with applications or regular browsing and so on. It could be an iPhone or an Android or even a BlackBerry. That is fine. But just make sure that it's smartphone, because then there's a lot of app testing that you could do. Okay, you should be able to have a smartphone with you through which you could practice. These are the prerequisites, team, that you need to make sure that you have before we get started. All right. Now a quick walkthrough on the course content, and then we will get into the project. Okay, so the course content I've divided into 2 portions because it could not really fit into one. Primarily, you will start with laying your foundation on the fundamental concepts of how mobile app testing is done. Okay, you will see why and how is it different from regular web app testing. Why should I even look at mobile app testing as a different thing to learn altogether? Okay, how do you start to implement a project to test mobile apps from scratch, ground up, basic steps? Okay, how do you design and set up a mobile application testing lab? And this word, though is a long word, has very simple meaning. The required infrastructure, the required set of devices, tools, and so on that will help you test as per your requirements. Okay. Now, exposure to various mobile devices, platforms like iOS and Android primarily, you will gain that exposure significantly through this course. You will understand at length how native apps behave, how mobile browser-based apps behave, and what are the hybrid apps that will come into it. To be able to test on real devices, simulators, emulators, and also reflector testing. It's basically a simple concept where you're actually doing it on real device, but you are connecting that real device as a display onto your system, so you're able to capture what's happening. All right. Then you have to get into the detailed defect reporting. How do you go about taking it, and so on. You will at the end look at a lot of challenges, uniqueness, and best practices for mobile application testing. Now, team, whatever you see primarily to a detailed level will fall under these course contents. Okay. I will also be covering 1 or 2 automation tools from the top ones. Okay, so I may go deep into 1 or 2 tools, but I will give definitely an overview and differences for every other tool. Okay, some of these tools are basically letting you connect to mobile devices remotely, so that you don't have to possess them in front of you, but you're actually running these tests on mobile device elsewhere remotely. Okay, some of these automation tools are actually performing the steps on the mobile application. Okay, they will actually do the entire form filling, submission, swipe, clicks here, touch there, all those things. They're going to perform it. So each of those things are important from automation. Now, unless you go through these fundamental concepts that I've shown here, automation is irrelevant. It is something that is very much dependent on what you build as your main platform. Okay, so this combination is what will be the overall course content, team. I have one more slide here, but before that, I just want to make sure that you know for sure that on itelearn.com, at the moment, there is already significant amount of sessions present on mobile application testing already. Okay, this has been focused more on Android devices and Android apps, but you will see the detailed topics of what each of these video sessions have done. Okay, so how you go about creating different setups, how you install Android SDK, how you create an emulator, and how you go about executing different types of tests in this environment and so on. There are about 12 videos total that are presented, about 5-6 hours I would say of content that is there. You will get a great essence through this. What I am going to be focusing in this live program will also include some of those sessions that have been done there, but we will do many more new topics. So together, along with these 12 sessions and the 15-20 sessions that we will be doing as part of this live program, we will have a great collection of tutorials that will make you a master in this. All right. So last 2 slides before we get into our project. So how is the whole thing going to be presented? Like I was saying, zero theory. That is how I love to teach. That is how I get interested to do this job. And that is what will really get you to master this. A pure project-based approach. Absolutely real-time, team. You see what I'm doing. You see how I'm doing it. You take this, replicate it exactly as is on your workplace if it's a new project. Or if it's an existing project, you can add value by trying to take the benefit out of the system and giving the suggestions and taking your knowledge there. All right. So what I'm looking to do is 3 real-time projects that we will see as part of this training. Like I showed you already in the catalog of video tutorials that we have, I have covered 3 different projects. So each time I try and take different application, different approach to it. So you have many different types of ways to execute. Why do I need these different types of projects? The reason is very simple. Number one, when you go outside into the industry, there are different domains. It could be banking, it could be retail, it could be something on social, it could be e-commerce, mortgage or healthcare and so on, right? So there's different types of applications. Number two is that every project has a different state currently. They want something to be done quickly. Some projects are more long-term plan. Some projects have large teams, remote teams, and so on. Depending on a great set of combinations of these factors, you will have to choose what kind of a project execution is best suited. Okay, that is where it gets very important for you. Team, do trust me on this, that it is not your what you know overall. It is all about your approach, how you go about doing it, how structured you present yourself. That is what will make you a real star on these technologies. All right. So 3 projects now, 3 projects there. So we're going to do 6 projects. After the training, you will be working on one live project as a group. Along with the other members, and you will be able to take that project and put it on your resume as a participant. Okay, I will be providing loads of practice and assignments that you could use to further enhance. You will be having the videos also accessible to you that you can continue to do. Yes, there will be the technical forum that you can use for job support, project support. Anytime you have questions, you can start using that technical forum out there. So everything that we do as part of the course, the files and so on, can be downloaded directly from the website. Okay, so only the premium contents are visible to the premium members. So for example, this link is there to download all the files for this specific module that I've done so far. All right, so far so good, everyone. Any questions before we get started on our first project? So let me see, team. Quickly, I'm going to take few questions. I'm sure if I let the doors open, there'll be a gazillion questions just because we have such large participation. But anything important, let me see. Are you going to cover manual testing or any automation testing tool for mobile application testing? So for Matt, I've shown you already that portion, what set of tools I'm evaluating and what I want to cover. Okay, who will be the trainer? Okay, great question. So team, I am going to be the trainer and I will be conducting all the sessions going forward. I may be assisted by a few other people for technical support and so on at the back end. But from a presentation standpoint and giving you the lectures, it is going to be me, Karthik. Okay. Who are premium members? Paramjit, premium members are paid members. Once you enroll for the training program, you get access to all these features. All right. The first day 1, day 2 are typically the free sessions. You get a chance to see what's going to happen and so on. Team, it is self-explanatory. Once you go to the website, you will see all the details on how you can register and so on. There is a pricing page. You can visit there and go there. Will there be training every day? The schedule of the training, I will communicate. Typically, around this time, we will do about 2 or 3 sessions at least every week. The exact schedule, I'll come back to you, because there's another course that is ongoing for me right now on HP Quick Test Professional. So I'm going to do a little mix and match on that. Is knowledge, experience of any programming language mandatory to learn mobile testing? None, nil. You don't need any kind of programming skill or knowledge for mobile application testing. However, when you get into more automation, you will see that Robotium or Android drivers and all that, you may like to have some scripting knowledge like JUnit and Selenium and so on. All right. So Selenium with Android is a plugin, it doesn't cover entire Selenium. Selenium by itself is a huge catalog. It will be there in a different thing. Okay. Eastern time zone, typically again around this time, it will be anywhere between 5 to 7 Pacific time, which is 8 to 10 Eastern time. But again, I know there are a lot of participants from UK, Australia and so on. Unfortunately, I don't think it's a convenient time for all of you, but that is the reason videos are a great option. And trust me, team, even if you attend live, you will go back and watch the videos because you'll need to repeat the sessions. There will be significant amount of knowledge in these sessions. If you're already a premium member with mobile application testing, I believe there is a difference in fees. You'll need to contact the eLearn team, please, and they will guide you. All right. After completing the session, yes. So primarily, you can always put whatever you've done as part of the training as what you have as a skill on your profile. There is nothing wrong. You can always go and say that, hey, listen, you know what? I have undergone this training, but here are the projects that we have executed. Why not? Why can't you put something on your profile that says, I have attended this training and I have done project 1, project 2, project 3, the 6 projects that you've done as part of this training, you can absolutely show it. Okay. The other thing that is important for you to note is as part of some of the free tutorials that are available for everyone, you would notice that there are things like how to crack your interview, how to crank your resume and so on, different career guiding tutorials. So you should watch them, please. That will give you a good flow overall. All right. Let's see. A few more questions and then I'll continue. Wayne, can I have the link shown just now? Which link are we talking about? I'm not sure. Can you repeat that? What is the fees for mobile application testing? Team, again, for the fees and specific details, please visit the website. All the details will be there. All right. So this is more of the actual day 1. So I want to get into the session itself. How is this course different from the videos only course on your website? So yes, good question, Namita. What I'm doing is on the website, the tutorials that I have, number 1, have been more on Android devices. Okay. Second, I have not shown anything on iOS. So I'm going to do a lot of focus on iOS in these sessions. Second thing, these sessions are going to be live as well. A few of the participants at least prefer to be as part of a live program so that they can stick to a learning agenda and learn through it. Then also what will happen is I have a chance now to do some automation training as part of mobile testing. Okay. Let's see. Can we learn QTP and MAT together? Absolutely. I think that's a killer combinations. Combinations like Selenium and mobile application testing or QTP and mobile application testing are perfect combinations. They're great to take to the market overall. Okay. Let's see. What else is there that I can? So I'm just trying to pick up a few questions that I could get in. What is the fees? Yeah, I've answered it. Is UFT 11.4 for mobile testing or just Selenium? So I'm not touching anything specific on details of which testing we're going into automation, but those are what are the popular ones. We will get into it. Is this manual mobile testing or automation testing? This is absolutely mobile application testing. As part of it, you will also be exposed to a few of the tools because the foundation is very critical. It is extremely different from your regular web testing and so on. Okay, UI testing and all that is very different. The videos are typically a 1-year access. You will have access to all the live sessions and the videos for a year, and then there is a small fee for an yearly renewal that you could do later. What is the future of mobile application testing in IT? I think mobile application testing is the future. Just like you cannot get away from doing testing on Windows operating system or even Mac operating system. Mobile apps and mobile platforms are a new platform for users. So it is very critical. It is the now and the next generation. How many of them are participating with us, team? I'm not sure. Right now I have about 67 people in this session as day one, but I'm sure there's been a few more registrants who probably could not join or so on. But as the day 3 starts, which is the actual paid sessions, we will know. At that time, we will be able to see how many people really want to involve into project level. Okay. What's the future of mobile application testing? Yes, do we cover automation framework? So there will be what we do as part of this. I will show you some automation frameworks and how you can go about it. You can look into it. Let's see. QTP or Selenium are not prerequisites. All right, team. So I think most of the important questions, at least, I must have covered. If there's anything that I have not, then we will come back to you later. Okay. So, team, now I am not interested in giving you the theoretical aspects of anything. Okay. I believe very strongly that at the end of the day, you will grasp that required skill as you go along. But going in the project route is the only way that we can do a great job. Now, how does it work? Primarily, team, this is how we will go about doing project 1. Okay. So today's session, we will cover some of these, but eventually these are the, at a high level, those 5-6 steps that we're going to be doing. So what we're going to be doing is, number 1, I will be picking up a application. I will introduce you to it and I'll tell you what kind of a scope we have for that testing. Okay. Then we will go about doing a test planning. We will create a few test cases and we will write down some test steps that we will need for some execution. Then we will prepare our application and the device that we can use for testing. Okay, where we're going to test it, how we're going to test it, and so on. Then we're going to go about the actual testing and reporting of defects. At a high level, this is the life cycle for a project 1. Okay, I am assuming that this will take anywhere between 4 to 6 sessions. All right. Now, as part of this first project, we will not be going deep on every aspect of it. Okay, we will be going at a very preliminary level in a neat fashion so that you master some of these aspects very, very strongly. All right. Now, how we go about doing this is this. So instead of me sticking any more to a PowerPoint, I am going to quickly open up a new Excel from scratch and start doing a project 1. Okay, so I'm going to say a new Excel. My system is very slow for some reason. Excel worksheet. I'm going to say this is mobile application testing project 1, okay, plan overall. So anything that we do, we will try and put out here, okay. So this is the overall plan that we're going to be doing, all right. So here, I like to format things a little. It gives us a lot of flexibility in what we want to be doing, all right, team. All right, what happened? I gave it a color, right? There you go. Okay, there you go. So now the first thing I want to show is give you the application under test, which is the application that we want to be testing, okay. Then we will talk about the mobile devices, okay. Which devices do we want to test that application under? Just a high level details, team, okay. Then we will talk about the environment. The operating system basically will be very easy once we know the list of mobile devices. Then we will talk about what is the overall scope or slash module that we will test and so on. Now, the fundamental way of looking at mobile application testing is just like testing it in any other fashion, okay. Let's say that you wanted to test, let's say, hotmail.com 10 years ago or even 15 years ago. In fact, you will still would have done the fundamental approach would have been same, okay. Is the basic functionality of that application working correctly? Am I able to send emails? Am I able to receive emails? Am I able to write a subject and all these things, okay. So the basic crux of it is the same. The only difference is the device that you're doing. Where are you testing it? And what are the different factors that affect that? So to get an understanding of such a thing, in fact, what I did is I started creating this as phase 2. I can go to the phase 1, which is part of those videos that I showed you on the website. We have generated a big list of documentation that you will have access to as part of that membership that you'll get. Here I created a simple checklist, team, okay. At a very, very high level, and this is not even complete, you would notice that the fundamental differences between a mobile application and a web-based application, just the platforms where they're running is primarily what it is, okay. So you will see that you could do a different states of each application, like you could download it, you could install an application, you could open an application, you could launch it or start using it. You're using it in the background, you are closing it, you are upgrading that, or you're uninstalling it, okay. There are different activities that you can perform on it, all right. You could be performing it on different states of the network. You could be in a 2G network or a 4G or a 4G LTE, Wi-Fi, secure Wi-Fi, unsecure Wi-Fi, even a hotspot or a USB or an airplane. All of these modes vary. How does your application behave under different statuses? Okay, then there are different settings like the battery settings, if the battery is dying down, or network setting, you're running in and out of network areas, or what happens when you turn it from a rotation from a portrait to landscape. All of these things have to be taken into the consideration. So the fundamental testing, which is the functional testing or the system testing or the application testing, is the same. All right, that portion is not changing significantly, but the different platforms and different circumstances under which you're going to test will be the one. All right, so once you start testing, your approach is the same. How make sure that you write the test cases, you write the test plans, and so on. All right, so these things are something that we will need to really apply and we will get to. Some of these things, team, we may not look at it immediately in project 1, but we will get to it in project 2. In project 1, we have more important things to get introduced to. So this specific detail that you're seeing right now, application under test, mobile devices, operating system, and all this, is a start for us. Now, what is going to happen, team, is that I have to first decide which is the application I want to take and where do I want to test for project 1. All right. Then we will talk about some other additional details. So this a high level plan and an agenda of what we want to do. Okay. This sheet you could also add more informations like who is going to be working. Okay. The project team. Okay. Then you could write details of when are we starting, when do we expect to end it, and so on. All right. Now, the application that I felt could be a good application for us to really play around is this application called Hotels.com. I believe this is one application I have really not shown earlier, and I thought it should be good for me to show you that application. So Hotels.com, as a quick overview of application, and I want each of you to spend a little bit more time in understanding it, is an application where users go in to make reservations for hotel rooms across the world. That's it. Simple concept, right? There's no big complexity in it. However, the options that are provided to the user are many, and that basically tells to give these options. There's a lot of software, applications, programs, modules created in the background to make it happen. So there is something called as hotel search. You can say where you want to live for the night, when are you checking in, when are you checking out, how many rooms, how many people, and so on. All right. Then you have more ways of logging into your account, using your membership, and trying to earn free nights, as stay for 10 nights and get one free night. You also have rewards programs. You can look at some package deals along with flights and so on. At a high level, is the functionality of the application clear, team? Is there any question about it? Do you think this is an application that you have any questions at the moment? So we're talking about hotels.com. All right. That's the application under test. Now we will talk about some of these other things. Team, is everyone with me so far? I just want to make sure that I don't have a sleeping audience. That's the only thing. All right, great. Thanks, Andre. Awesome. So now, where do we want to test this? I'm going to say that iOS is my main testing for this project. Okay, I will have 4 or 5 other team members maybe working on a different project, and they will be focusing only on Android devices. Then I will have another tool which will focus on Windows and Mac systems. All right. So now we're talking about iOS being the platform, and let's say that I want to test it on an iPad. Okay. What is the scope module? I will say simple hotel search. All right. Now, is this the only module in this application? No. There could be 25-30 different portions in it. This feature where you enter a destination, check-in, check-out, all of these things is a set of features that are part of one module that we're doing. Okay. Project team, who is it? I'll say ITeLearn. Matt iOS. That's just a name that I've coined right now. Okay. Start. I'm going to put 7:25, and I'm going to say that we're going to finish this by 8:05. Just a rough idea, team. Okay, and so on. At the moment, I'm just putting this at a high level. Now, I want to write down what are the test cases that I want to execute. Okay, what is it that I want to do? Where am I going to do it? All right. So let's talk about test cases. Now, for test cases, I can write something very simple. All right. I'll say there's a test case ID. All right. Then there is a test case name. Okay. Then there is detailed steps for it, for executing, what is expected, and result. All right. So a test case could be as simple as, so you start writing, let's say Los Angeles, and you should be able to see all the Ajax options that come up, which will say what are the different options for Los Angeles. All right, which location and so on. So I will say auto complete, not auto complete, auto recommend of place. All right. And that's actually the name. and here I'll say this is TC001. So I'm writing it very quickly, team, because I want to show it to you in a very quick fashion on an iOS device itself. All right. So test case, this is done. All right. So what is it that you expect? So one, go to hotels.com. Now here is where the difference is. Okay. And this I'm writing as an approach that we will go typically for a web-based application, assuming we are doing it on a browser. Okay. Now will come the fun part where we say, how is it different if I want to do it on the application on the mobile device? Okay. Go to hotels.com, then enter. Okay. Start to type Los Angeles in the field, in the city field, whatever it is. Okay. Now these are the only two steps that you see. Okay. You will see different selections of places that start with that word. Number one, that's the number one expected. Second one, expectation out of this that you're doing as a verification is you're trying to verify and see that the word is highlighted in yellow. Let us say these two are your expected test cases. Now, result is basically when you execute it, what do you see that is there as part of the result? All right. Okay, there you go. So now if I want to do a team on hotels.com, that's easy. All right. I'm able to do it and I'm able to see what's happening and so on. Now, how do we do it on hotels.com? All right. How do we do it there? And that is where it will come for you to prepare your application and your device. Okay. So the first thing you need to identify is where do you want to execute it? You said it's an iPad, so you got to have your iPad handy, right? Now, the iPad that I'm going to use, team, is going to be remotely connected to my desktop so that whatever I do on that system, you should be able to see it out here, okay? So for this, I'm using a tool called as Reflector. Reflector is basically a paid tool. You also have a free tool which allows you for 10 minutes at a stretch view from airsquirrels.com. It will give you the access to be able to use or view your iOS devices on your desktop. So whatever I do on the iOS, you should be able to see. This comes with a feature called AirPlay, which is more prominent in iPad 2, iPhone 5, and iPhone 4S also, I guess. So anyway, I use an Android device right now as my smartphone, but this is on the iPad. So quickly, let me double click the home button, and that will give me the ability to go and do a mirroring. So at this time, I hope you can see my iPad. Can you see my iPad, team? Yes, perfect. So what I'm doing iPad is what you're going to see on the screen. All right. So now this is basically I double click the home button, and that is how I get to slide out here and use this icon here called AirPlay. So I connected to my system out here. The steps are very, very simple. Just go to airsquirrels.com/reflector. That is the product. Click on try reflector. It will guide you step by step. Now, here is my work environment. I am doing it actually where? On the device. What am I showing you, team? I am showing you just the view of that device. What happened to this now? On the machine so that you get a good idea. Now, there are two ways that I can do hotels.com. One way is I could go and open hotels.com on the browser. Okay, you have a Safari browser on your iPad, and you can use that as the way of doing it. Now, typically, if you go to hotels.com as a user for the first time, it is not doing. Actually, let me try and close this and go to hotels.com and say go. Right. So what you see here, yeah, it was supposed to come to me as a mobile site instead of a. It will actually give me the option. So the display is fine because it's a big screen. The display is fine, but it was supposed to give me an option to download the app instead of doing it here. So I selected, let me do it regular way. I will surf it as a website, not as an app. All right, team. So now what I'm trying to do is give me a one. Sorry, team, I'm back. Yeah, I said give me a minute. All right. So now what happens is, as soon as I keep changing the orientation of my iPad into from landscape to portrait and so on, you will see that also happening on the display out here. Okay. Now, option one is to be testing this on the hotels.com website. Now, this is one way to do it, team. But since the view is so big on an iPad, this is how it will look. But if you try, let me see and experiment one thing very quickly. If I do a m.hotels.com and I click on go. Now do you see the display here is entirely different, okay? So if you were supposed to be using an iPad and so on, you would, sorry, an iPhone, you would automatically get a smaller screen, and because of the smaller screen, you may be guided to this directly. So this is one thing, using the web browser to connect to the device. What is the other way? Lot of these organizations, companies and brands and service providers also come with an option through which you can search for a specific app. Okay, for example, right now I'm trying to search for hotels, all right, .com, and be able to install this app. Now, as part of this project one, I want each of you team, if you have access to an iOS device, great. iPad, iPhone, doesn't matter. We will try and do a lot of these testings accordingly. Secondly, alternately, if you have an Android also, that is fine. But you need one of these devices to be able to practice this, because the test cases that you write are going to be different in each device. Now, when we come back in day 2, you will see that I'm going to be writing at least 3-4 test cases, and we will show you how you go about doing it in different orientations, in the sense in different apps. Now, quickly go back here, and I'm going to start to download this team quickly. Free. So I'm basically going to install the app right now and let the app get installed, okay? And then we will walk through these differences. I am here. I'm still with you. Give me a second, please. So right now it is in installing mode. So am I testing this team? No. The testing of installations, download, finding it, and even in fact all the layout on how it is going to be shown in the App Store, this is going to be a complete different thing that you will be doing later. Okay, but right now we're just trying to do some basic functional testing. Now let this app download and then we will launch the same. So how you write your test cases and so on itself is going to be very different. Now, team, notice this. Many a times, okay, most of the times you have, while that's happening, and in fact it is already downloaded, but I'll still take a minute to explain to you, okay. There is already, let me use this pen if I can, okay. So regular web testing is there, right, team? Right? As part of that, there is probably hundreds or even thousands of test cases, scenarios, all right, automation test suites and all that created. There is a lot of documentation already there for hotels.com. Now, when we want to do mobile application testing, then how are we doing it? Are you going to write your own test cases every time? Ideally, what you'll be doing is you will take the existing test cases, all right, existing what has been done, and then convert them and make sure they're all now in the converted, modified for mobile devices accordingly. All right, that is what we have to do. Now, what I've shown you here, where is my Excel? All right, now I'm handling a keyboard, a mouse, and an iPad with 3 hands. All right, give me a second. So there is the drawing. So what I have here is I showed you how we do it on a browser, regular browser. But now we need to be able to design it in such a way that it is more apt for the application. Now, how do you write test cases? Anyone in the audience? How are you going to go about writing test cases? How do you write or author test cases? You don't need an unlocked phone. You can take a regular phone. I have regular iPad. It's locked. It's not unlocked. How do you write test cases, please? Based on the requirement. Perfect. Thank you. Requirements. You take requirements and then read them and start writing. Correct? Then basis of high level requirements. Okay. Fair enough. Then looking at the design could be more specific, but you could, yeah, all right. Divide requirements into scenarios. All right. So I'm just looking at the first steps of writing. Environment, no, there's nothing with environment. 3, collect test data. No, I'm not talking about different steps into it. I'm talking about I unfortunately actually broke my iPad screen a couple of days back, and there seems to be small pieces of, I have to get it changed, the screen, but there seems to be small pieces of glass that are still stuck to it and it's piercing. So luckily you won't see the crack on the remote screen, but you see it on the screen when I keep sliding. All right. High-level test scenarios, decompose requirements to so and so. Okay, interviewing BA and client. Okay, so client or business analyst is providing it to you. You are also looking at specifications, understanding the functionality, right? Understanding the functionality, all right? You might look at users, okay, of it, just like clients. Actually, you can write users itself here and try and collect of what you're going to do. You can also look at the application itself, right, and start writing test cases. There is currently a stable application. You could create a list of test cases by just looking at the existing version. Exactly. Using the existing version. Existing version, what are the test cases? How is the application supposed to be behaving? As it looks right now, we are hoping that what's in production is correct. It could still have some flaws, but that's fine. You could then go back and say that, okay, now this is a starting point. Now we will expand on it. Right? So this test cases that I'm writing is looking at the application. It is not looking at anything else but the application right now. All right. I just wanted you to know that the way we're writing test cases is by looking at the application. Now, going back to the iPad and quickly looking at it, we may want to write a couple of test cases and then we will come back to test them later. Okay. Now, why didn't it come? What happened to my display here? Give me a quick second, please. So team, you don't need Reflector like I'm using because Reflector is, since I want to show you what I'm doing it on the device out here, but it's a good thing to have. All right. Reflector is there. So let's see. Okay, there you go. Now it's come. So now this specific app should have got launched. There you go. Do you see this, hotels? Now there could be simple tests up to the point like how the application should look, what icons will come on, and so on. Okay, so I'm going to start with canceling some of these things. Would like to send you push notifications. I'm going to say okay to this. I didn't recognize. Do you like our app later? Okay, these are all part of the expected things that the application needs, how it needs to be behaving. Team, I know I'm almost towards the end of the session for today's session, but I would love to start taking calls as some questions. As I told you, this is a continuation. It is a 4 to 5 session for project 1. We will be doing a lot of things accordingly. You will get deeper into day 2. We will see how we go about writing more test cases and executing it. All right. So it still says it's busy loading relevant content for you. Please stand by. So let it happen on the background, but let me open it up for questions right now, please. What is memory leak? Will we be learning? Yes, we will talk about some memory leak things. We will get deeper into this. And team, I really want each of you to start using the forum that will be coming up soon for it. Okay. What about bug tracking tool is best for mobile application testing? So most of the bug tracking tools are fine, but I will show you some as we go about. Okay. In project 2 or 3, I'll be using some of those tools. On a side note, to teach healthcare in testing with EDI and HIPAA transitions, lots of high-paying jobs. Yeah, you're right. So healthcare testing and so on have a lot of high-paying jobs. Yes, unfortunately, domain training is a little more advanced for my audience and so currently. So more of tool. So team, any other questions as part of day 1? I know I've really not done much out here so far, but when we come back, you will see that we will go about doing it. But if you look at the plan, even preparing the application, getting your device ready and so on is very critical. All right. In fact, this is coming even before. So we start with a high-level test plan. We go about application preparation and then test cases and test steps. So that's where we are. Let's see. What is the main automation tools now active in MAT? Okay, so team, many automation tools, but some of them I've listed here. All right, so some tools are getting more popular by the day. So there's something called as phone talk. There was earlier thing. Now it's called as MonkeyTalk. Okay, MonkeyTalk is something that's getting popular. Robotium has been there for a while. It had its own flaws, but it's improved. Ranorex is trying to advertise itself significantly and so on. DeviceAnywhere, again, another great tool, especially if you want to work with multiple devices in different locations. Okay, turn on location services to HD. So to determine location, cancel. Okay, that we'll do later. All right. So welcome. Thanks for downloading our app. Search. So see, so the search, the complete feature of this is so different. Do we see this? And the whole, how you get to that and so on, what is displayed and so on is so different. In fact, the whole test case itself, there is no more highlighting in yellow and all that, just because it's on an iPad. Now, will the same as is work for iPhone? Nope. It will take a different thing, but it can get modified there. So how do you go about writing these test cases? What do you look into when you're testing it and so on will become very important. All right. So team, few more quick questions before we end the session. How secure is the application when connected to unsecure network? Correct. So security testing as part of mobile application is also very important. I'm going to be touching on that too. Do we test mobile application in bad network connection to? Yes. So we need to be, now Jenny, will I be able to replicate it? I will try, because not on the iPad, I will do it on an iPhone, okay, or I'll do it on an Android device when we get into the project 2 and so on. So the testing approach is different based on devices like iPhone, Android. So approach is the same thing. That's what I'm saying. The approach is the same. What you're supposed to be testing, what you're supposed to be looking out is different. In certain cases, the test cases itself need to get modified. Website to get the Reflector tool. Very simple. It's out here. airsquirrels.com/reflector. I will also put it in the comments on the live session. People who are watching the video, you can pause your video and take that link, please. because it took a lot of time to load the app, etc. Correct. So what happens, team, is that as part of that, you'll see that you waste a lot of time in doing these simple tasks. Okay. Sometimes just setting up the right environment itself is so very time consuming, and that's also one of the other significant things. Any Selenium live batches? Money? Not right now. Tuition fee before the next session. So team, day 2 is free, but unfortunately what happens is I'm not sure if the same go-to training link will work, just because people register, they don't attend, and more people want to come. There's only 200 people limit in it. Okay. Reflect iPad on the laptop screen. So team, go to airspirals.com/reflector. You will see the details there for it. All right, team. So great. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you joining this session. I'll see you back in day 2. We will continue from where we left in day 1 and go very advanced into it. All right. Thank you so much, team. Have a nice weekend. I will see you back on Monday for day 2. You will all be communicated on how to join and when to join for day 2. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye now.